Hey, Team Beautifully Polished. This is Debbie. It is Wednesday training at noon. I'm coming in just after noon. Ironically enough, today is on vending events, and I'm actually in the midst of running a vending event. So I snuck into a back room, and I have my assistant running my vending event right now, so I could come in and do training with you guys. So let's talk vending events. I picked this because it's a great time of year for events. So for example, I'm working an event right now for the Jingle Bell Run. It's an arthritis run. And so as people come to pick up their numbers and their bibs and whatever for the run on Saturday, I'm selling nails. So there's all sorts of different kind of events out there. I'm personally doing a give back one at this event, but does not mean all events you have to do that. So Darlene gave you guys some great info on vending events of what she does. You know, a lot of the things we do everybody does the same, and then people tweak things. So I know in the write-up for Stylist Spotlight, she gave you lots and lots of information. So I'm going to kind of run over some of the highlights that I do and that I think are important with vending events as well. And then, you know, you figure out what works for you. Okay, so obviously, vending events, like I said, this is a great time of year for them because schools and churches and all sorts of different groups are doing holiday shopping events. So, you know, you might still be able to get into some right now for December, but more than likely you need to start looking for January on. Sometimes it's a little slowdown period, but by spring, things will pick up again. So you can go to Facebook groups. There's different, like in Michigan, I know we have a Michigan vending event group. There's all sorts of different groups you can look on. At one point, McDonald's had lists you could look at, but I've gone to a few, and I don't think they do that anymore. So go on Facebook, look at local events in your Facebook group, and you can see and then contact the people in charge of those different events to see if they have a Color Street person. When you contact somebody, there's some good questions to ask. You know, some things to look for. You want to see how many people, well, first, if it's their first year ever doing that event. If it's their first year, may or may not be the best thing to do. How much does it cost? How many people do they have come through that event? Do they offer another Color Street person? If they do, in our new PNP, technically, we are not supposed to take it if we're supposed to have one Color Street per person. Now, some events only allow one vendor of the same company, but other events, they don't care. They just want to collect your money. So it is something to ask them, do you allow more than one Color Street person, and do they already have somebody? I know some people ask if there's Jamberry. I've never run into them in an event. Honestly, I don't think it'd be an issue. I think they're two totally different products, but that's another question. You know, do you have other nail companies there too? So you want to make sure you find out those answers before you give your money. Okay, so those are things to find out. Then once you have it booked, let's talk about some things to bring to your vending events. You want to make your booth look professional. You want to make it look nice, not that it was just thrown there. I'll tell you, I was at a mall last week, and I was not super impressed with the display they had. It was very low line. They had a cute tree with some gift bags, but they were more into the gift bags of non-Color Street things that people got, little manicure sets. That was more in display than the actual nails were. So again, everybody does it different. So I'll tell you kind of what I do. I like a tablecloth. Most of the time those are required anyway, but you know, make sure that table's covered. Don't just do like a plastic one, do a nice cloth one. Some events have those for you. If you have a banner, like a cloth banner that hangs over, I do that along with I do my stand-up banner as well. So I have some height there that draws people's eyes to what I'm selling as they walk by. You can get these different things through Vistaprint. I know different people have made them, whether or not they still are with the new PNP, I'm not sure. You want to make sure you have nails on display. So you figure out how you're going to do it. And I'll take a picture of my vending event in the other room. This is a real small, low-key one, so it's nothing fancy that I have at this one, but I typically have a spinning rack with my solids and my glitters. Then I have boards, which again, I didn't even bring the boards here because it's a smaller event. I have boards with little shelves where then they can see multiple nails on that board. Again, I go for height. And then I may have bins and containers where I can sort other kinds, like maybe foundation nails, maybe holiday nails, sports. And I try to find, like I have a cute little golf bucket, so I put them in the golf. I have a Michigan State little bucket, so I may put things that go along with sports or those colors. So, you can kind of sort them that way too. So putting them on display is a great idea. The more people want to visually see it, okay? Then some type of signage. I do one typically where they can earn something about earning a free set, and then I'll have lead slips, which we'll talk about. I do one about the opportunity. I have the kit box. If you have not thrown your kit box away, save it. You can put that on display. You open it, show all the product. You can put a sign like best deal. You can put a sign about joining your team, or have you thought about a new business? Something to that extent. You can find lots of different graphics in the graphics groups for these things. And then I have a signage with maybe, like this time of year, I do who they can buy gifts for, that one from corporate. It might be the pricing. You want to have that displayed somewhere. So make sure you have that somewhere in your presentation also. Depending on your event, you might have 2 tables, you might have 1 table. So some places you get more display room than others. Okay, what else do you want to have there? Then I typically have a back table, and then I have a tall cocktail table. I like that tall cocktail table because that's where I do my sampling. On that table, I keep my Tuesdays, a little bucket for trash. Instead of the alcohol prep pads, I personally buy a little bottle from the dollar store, fill it with rubbing alcohol and cotton balls. It's quicker to use. I'm not ripping open, and it's cheaper. So then I just put it on the cotton swab and tell them this is like the alcohol prep pad in the pack. So I keep that there. Then I have my signage for the lead slip there with a bucket where they could put a slip in. If they place an order, it's their order slip that goes in because they don't need to duplicate their info twice. If they don't purchase something, they can just fill out the plain lead slip, drop that in, and that's to earn a free set of nails. Keep pens for that, right? You want to have catalogs, of course, that are labeled with your info on it, right? Your lead slips that people will fill out. Again, you can find all that stuff on Trello. Business cards, however you are giving your info out. If it's a business card, the Blitz cards, this time of year in particular, I usually ask if they're buying gifts for people. If they're buying it for 3 different people, I like to give them 3 different Blitz cards with instructions and my info and a Tuesday. And I tell them make sure they practice with this first before they open up their set of polish. So I think that helps people when they're giving them as gifts, and then that gets your info to that person other than just on your sticker on the nails. You want to make sure, and we'll talk about this again at checkout, but you want to make sure you have a bag of money. You want to make sure you have a square to run credit cards. Some people bring computers. I find most places you go, you can't get on the internet, so I don't personally really bring a computer to take orders online. Paper order forms. I do, no matter what, I fill out a paper order form because I want to have written down what they did, even though I'm doing it in my square. And they need that receipt. In our new PNP, they have to have that receipt. So give them that paper, the second copy. So I do those at every event. Calculator, unless you're using your phone. Something I have figured out too is phones go fast when you're using your square, and there's not always a place to charge. So having that calculator, so it's one less thing. If they're doing cash and carry, unless you're running, I've been starting to run everything through Square, even the cash. So I just go that way and let it add up. But calculator is not a bad thing to have. Maybe you have the lookbook or photos of nails. That makes a big difference when they can see real hands, nails on real hands. So you could have a lookbook out for them to look at. You want to have hostess folders. So if somebody is interested, again, you guys, we go in a vending event to sell, yes, but again, we always should start with sponsoring nail bars and then selling. The sales are going to happen because you're at an event. And now people have heard of Color Street, so they're going to come over to see what you have. They want to take it home with them. They love doing the cash and carry. So, but you want to be able to offer the business and get parties. That should be your focus at these events, and the sales are the bonus. But the parties are, a lot of times, someone's coming to buy at a vending event, they're going to buy at the next vending event and the next vending event. So if you can get them as permanent customers and get them in your VIP group and get them to have a party, then you're your odds of having a lifelong customer go up. So you want to build more than just that one purchase relationship with them. You may have a few little seasonal decorations. Again, don't go overboard, you guys. You want them to see the products, but you could have, you know, I do a little tree where I can clip. Now the bigger nails are a little harder, but our old nail strips, I could put nails on it. Now basically I have to do twosies. Some type of a garbage bag to throw your trash out in, little cellophane bags from the dollar store, or if you buy the Color Street bags, they're a little bit more expensive, but they look awfully good when you're walking around that vending event saying Color Street on it. But the little cellophane bags, the dollar store, totally fine to be able to put their nails in, and we'll talk about what you can put in there at checkout in a second. Then some type of a quick tip sheet, whether it's on your Blitz card, if you have those with the tips of how to apply. If not, print some. Because again, you can show them the nails, but they'll forget when they go to apply it. So all the things, you know, like if the nail size is too big, go bigger, then go small. Start with your pinky, go to your thumb, give 30-minute dry time before you get your nails wet. Wash your hands before. You know, the tab side's wider than the top side. All those little tips are great for them to have later. And then I also keep scissors there too, because sometimes I have a hard time and I can't go quick enough to rip open from the little crease. So I keep scissors so I can just cut it and make the whole process faster. Okay, so that's kind of a checklist. Now before the event, what do I do? Before the event, I want to make sure I'm all ready. I am not looking at all my stuff 10 minutes before I have to be there. I want to be organized the week of, for sure, by the night before. I don't want to stress about it. And typically, I come home from my event, I clean everything out, I get everything redone. So the next event, I'm just ready to go and I don't have to, unless something has changed, new nail strips, I have to, you know, I have to label things that just came in, something. Other than that, I try to be fully prepared. I have a vending bag and a party bag packed at all times at my house, and they're just ready to go. So get organized. Decide how you're going to make your table look. I can think back to my very first vending event when I signed up. I did it with Dawn on our team, and she came over and we had a table set up in the garage, and we did a fake mock-up because we were so particular about how we wanted our table to look for this fashion show. It was so funny. I'm not that anal now. I do not set it up, but I know in my head what I want to do now. So get organized, decide how you want your table to look. Make sure all of your nails are labeled and your catalogs. I do 2 labels on my nails. I do one with my name, email, phone number. I do another one that says join my VIP group, Debbie's Personally Polished Pals. So they have 2. And I've said this before, but I use personally the restickable circles. I buy bright green, so they're noticeable, and then they can easily pull that off and stick it somewhere else. Or if someone has to borrow my nails, or if I'm giving it some of the, I don't want the label put on there, I can peel them off really, really easily. Okay, so you have to have your information on something, otherwise, how are they going to get a hold of you again? Make sure your lead slips are printed, so you have those ready. Gather all the things you're going to need of the list I just gave you. I try to keep it all in one of those big 31 bags, one of those totes with the wire. That's my vending event bag, and I try not to have more than that other than my nails, but that's all my stuff. So I have all that in one bag. Again, I hate this because I can't see if there's any comments from you guys, but I'll try to pull you up on my phone. Okay. All right, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so you want your table to look neat and clean. You don't want to sit and eat at your table, you guys. I know if you're there all day, you're going to have to try to eat, but don't just sit there with a hamburger on the table. You know, try to be a little, if it's only you at the table, try to at least hide it a little bit if you're there all day. Because you do have to eat. It's easier if you take little snacks and you stick it in. Oh gosh, if you have an apron's an awesome, awesome thing. I got that from Sharon Crispin. I borrowed it from her, and I'll never do an event without it, because you can keep your money in there, a calculator, some twosies, it's all right in your apron, then some snacks that you could quickly grab, like almonds or something that's filling while you're working, and then you don't have to worry about getting over hungry or exhausted, because some events are long and all day, and I really don't want you sitting at a table. You should not be sitting by your table. You really should be in the front and standing the entire day, which is why they're long, greeting people as they walk by. So I'm standing in the front. So I have my table back here. I have my cocktail table here where I'm standing by my cocktail table where I can easily be putting samples on. As somebody walks by, I say, oh my gosh, have you heard of Color Street? As I see them staring at my sign. And that's kind of how I get them drawn into oh yeah, I have. Oh my gosh, you have to come and see all the new styles. No, I haven't. Oh my gosh, your mind's going to be blown. It's dry nail polish. Many people go, I'm good. But other people want to come over. So, but if you don't greet them, they will not more than likely just walk up to your booth, especially if you're just sitting there. You have to draw them in, you guys. So I cannot emphasize enough the importance of not sitting at the table. I've gotten some reports of some people on our team that have been at events, other vendors have tattled on them, that they were literally sitting at their event all day. That is a waste of your time, you guys. You're not going to make your money back. If you are just sitting there, you won't make your money back. You've got to be a mover and a shaker. So if you choose to do a vending event, be ready to be on your feet all day. So wear comfortable shoes, okay? Whatever you are wearing, it's a great idea to have that in stock. I've made that mistake where I was like, oh, I'm going to wear the Hostess exclusive nails. Well, that was silly because everyone wanted to know what those nails, how I could get those nails. Whatever you're sampling. Now, I realize samples, people can get picky about which one they want, and sometimes we don't sell them anymore. But I notice the Coral Bay, whenever I sample Coral Bay, that's what everybody wants. That just seems to be a real popular one. Tokyo Lights. So make sure if you're sampling, you try to have those if they're in stock. Other times, you know, I still have some Atlanta. So I'll say, oh my gosh, we don't have this one anymore, but it was such a cute, fun mermaid one for the summer. So maybe, you know, stay tuned for next summer. We'll see what comes out. But I just remind them if they start getting real picky, if I show them 3 samples, no, I really don't like any of these. I say, it's totally just a sample, so I can show you how to put it on. If you don't like the color, you can take it off with nail polish, remove it later. So it doesn't mean it has to be their favorite style. I personally like to sample with glitters as well over solids. Okay, so let's see. Table setup suggestions. Okay, so we kind of talked about that already. Let me give you a few more things you could do. So you can get like a vase. I went to, where did I get these? It was so long ago. Meyer said no. I can't remember if I went to a florist. I went somewhere, you know the flower picks, they're clear, they're like a fork. I put those in baskets too, and you can stick them in the picks to add height, again, with some more on display. So that's another idea. So you just buy like the foam green stuff inside the bucket, stick them in with some tissue or something covering it. That's a great way to add height. Again, you want the display to look attractive. Okay, so if that isn't your cup of tea, go look around on Facebook and see what other people have done. All right, because it really makes a difference. I have one of those little blocks. One of the gals on our team, Dina, gave me. And it just slips. So some nail sets, like today I have a smaller event, so I have my round spinner, some holiday nails set out, and then I put petites in the little slant thing on display. Some people use pocket charts. I know quite a few people on our team, like teachers use, and they put the nails in there, and I believe they wrap it over cardboard. I have a corrugated poster board with like a ledge, that's what I use, and a stand. Okay, so let's talk about sampling. I have found sometimes too, it's almost easier to go to an event with naked nails than having a full set on, because sometimes many people, they just got their nails done, or they don't want you to do theirs. So that's when I sample myself. Or I'll try to grab one person. If there's a bunch of people in the booth at once, I'll grab one person and go, oh my gosh, she's ready to put a sample on. Do you guys want to come over and watch? And then I can tell that many people at one time. So that works out really well when you have multiple people in there and some don't want to get the sample put on. Otherwise, I will go naked and I end up layering and they become multiple colors. But sampling is key, you guys. You want to sample people because you want to show them how it's done. If they've used Color Street, they may not need that sample, but otherwise you need it. I've also learned, I keep the samples. I do not. I used to just leave them there. My event this summer, I literally had a lady, I'm 99.9% sure she went right over there and dumped them in her bag. I swear she dumped a whole bunch of them in her bag. So do not leave them out. People will also then want to do their full hands with it. They get one sample. So, you know, that's, yeah, people can be funny. So when you are doing the sampling, you guys, that is your time to build a relationship with this person. You are not at a nail party where you have the evening to build rapport. You're not in a Facebook group where you're kind of posting all week. You have a 2-minute time frame to build a relationship. Why will they want to come back to you after this sale? Again, we're not looking for one-time sale. We want customers for longer than one sale. So as I'm sampling, I'm telling them all the different tips. I'm asking them questions. If they have a little girl, I might be bent down talking to that person. I might be asking what they need the nails for. Do you have a special event coming up? I'm trying to get as much information out of them as I can in that short amount of time so they feel comfortable with me, and so we build that relationship to get them to want to come back to me. So, you know, if you're working the event alone and you're trying to sample and you got a bunch of people in your booth, it can get a little bit harder. So again, you got to, you know, you may not have quite as much time. So again, at that sampling station, you want to have your twosies, your scissors, the bottle with the rubbing alcohol. I do keep some Q-tip sticks and nail files, but don't use them a ton. Okay, so let's talk about checkout. So you have your bag with cash. I bring lots of ones, then some 5s, 10s, and 20s. I have my square. You know, I tell them I take payment those ways. I haven't done PayPal or Venmo. I guess between cash and credit, I've been fine. I would not personally take checks at an event. I just don't recommend it. You don't know what would happen. I just wouldn't do it. Sometimes I have found one event, again, I did this summer, the internet was spotty. It would come and go. So sometimes my square would not go through because my internet wasn't working. So what I would do is write down their credit card information if it wasn't going through right then, and then I would run it as soon as the internet came back in. So I had one person. So if you do that, make sure you are getting their zip code because you will need that. So I had one person where I forgot to get that. So I just texted her and said, oh my gosh, I forgot to get this. And when the internet went back on, and she was totally fine and sent it to me. So those are just a few things to be cautious of. Again, the internet's great when it works, but it can be a problem when it doesn't. You can kind of decide the price. We're not allowed to discount any more than buy 3, get 1, but some people do the regular amount plus tax. That's typically what I do. Some people charge the shipping. I don't. Some people just round up $1. So if it's a $12 set, it's now 13. If it's 13, it's now 14. In that way, it kind of covers tax and shipping rolled into that. So you can just do straight up money without having to deal with coins. So really, it's whatever you want to do. You can't go under, but you could always round that $1 up. Then during payment, again, I'm talking to them, you know, as I'm writing the nails down and asking them what it's for, asking if they're for gifts. I tell them about my VIP group, and if I don't have a lot of people in the booth, I say, oh my gosh, get your phone out, we can pull it up right now. Or I do that little messenger thing where I hold my messenger circle over theirs and I connect us through Facebook right then. If you can't get them in then when you do your follow-up phone calls, which we'll talk about in a minute, then you want to see if you can get them in your VIP group then. All right, so you take their nails that they buy, a catalog, your contact info. Again, I do extra if I know it's for gifts. I drop it in their little bag and I tell them thank you. All right, so we talked about sponsoring. Again, let me just mention, you should go into every vendor event with the intention of looking for new people that want to do this. So they see how much fun you could have at an event like this. You know, so have those hostess packets or stylist information ready to go, whether you have shuffle and you can send it to them through that. If you have the paper, you know, in an envelope, however you do it, if you have a little gift you give, if they sign up, you know, to have a party right then, whatever you do, but have your calendar blocked and ready. So if someone wants one, you are ready to open it up and give them 2 dates. Okay. So you come to every event with open dates for that month and the next month for events or for nail bars. So you're ready to book it right then before they leave. Again, this is kind of my last part of this. Follow-up, you guys, is the most important thing of vending events. Those people are going to say, oh, I bought a vending event, but I have no idea who I bought from. That happens a lot. The fortune is in the follow-up. I mean, how many times have we heard this? That is the key. You want to follow up right after the event to tell them thank you. A couple days after, a couple weeks later, see if they've tried the set, see how their sample wore. Remind them if they haven't joined your VIP group. Again, just to thank them. If they won in the lead slip, you picked them for a free set of nails, you're calling for that. Or you can use that lead slip to say, hey, you didn't win, but you could get some free nails by booking a party. So you still have the opportunity to earn free nails. So make sure you are doing that follow-up, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. And then you are adding them. Key. Again, they did cash and carry. They are not in your system. You need to go into your back office and add them as a customer, okay? Or it'll add them as a contact because they won't have a purchase. That way, when you are sending out your emails, they're in there. Otherwise, you will never talk to them again. So make sure you are adding them in your contacts after your event. You could follow up with, hey, I have some tips and tricks if you're ready to put them on. Thank you for your purchase. You could send an email and list the tips and tricks for them. So biggest thing is telling them that. So here are comments. I tell them we're 100%, God, I'm stumbling over my words today. Sorry. We're 100% nail polish. Please, especially in the winter right now, if you're in Michigan, cold areas, make sure you store these in the house at room temperature. Don't leave them in your car in the cold weather. If your hands are cold, if you just came in from outside or they were in your car for an hour, make sure they're room temperature and your hands are warm before you put them on. Start with clean, dry, lotion-free hands. Sometimes I tell people that there's a teeny bit of stretch for the perfect fit, but I don't tell everybody that because I feel like they yank it and then they rip it. But always go bigger than smaller. Try not to apply the strips over the cuticles, especially this time of year when your cuticles are dry. After your nails are put on, you could use cuticle oil the next day to keep those nails nice and moist and healthy during the winter when our fingers get so dry. So make sure you push your cuticles back before you put them on. Do not apply lotion or get your hands wet for about 30 minutes after your application because it has to fully adhere. I usually tell people it's dry to the touch, but it's tacky enough that it still can adhere to the nail. So that is what I tell people, you guys. That is really kind of my vending event in a nutshell. Let me see, you guys. I don't know why it doesn't show me if there's any comments or anything being made right now, so I have no idea. So that's my event, you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. We have stuff on Trello for vending events. We have videos on vending events. So there's lots of info out there. If you have some coming up and you're unsure what to do, check that stuff out because there's all different ways to do it. There are some right and wrong ways, like I said. Don't sit and eat a hamburger and make sure you're out in front of your booth. Those are some two really, really big things that I can't emphasize enough to you. Oh, one last thing is make friends with the vendors around you, especially if you're in an event by yourself, because you're probably gonna have to run to the bathroom and you're gonna want them to take over and just watch for you for a minute. And you never know, they could be a great customer too. Or I love working with people that I send them to my booth and then they send me to their people to my, we cross, hey, you gotta go check out those nails, or hey, you gotta go check out those pillows. So you guys can work together. Some stylists on our team I've met at vending events that were selling other things. So they could be your next hostesses. You just don't know what you're going to get from the different people selling too. So build relationships with them too. Again, we are relationship business, period, whether it's stylists, hostesses, and customers. So build those relationships. Take full advantage of working an event. All right, I need to get back out to my event and relieve the person who took over for me. So I hope that helps you guys, and good luck on all your events this coming up season.